Hello, welcome back to Skyrocket Automotive. Today I'm working on an air-cooled Volkswagen, which means I'm immediately already not in a very good mood. We've got the gauge pack. Now, the reason we've got the gauge pack sitting on my desk, which is a shambles right now, is because I went through all the diagnostic process and whittled it down to the fuel sender in the tank wasn't working correctly. Fair enough. Absolutely confirmed that. Right as rain. Fitted the new fuel sender, turned the ignition on. The gauge came up to exactly where I would have expected it to be and then dropped down. Which is brilliant because you can't get the late type anymore. They do the early type, but not the late ones. I think this guy may have experienced the problem in the past and it's made this weak. And now we're getting a nice consistent reading from the sender. I think the gauge is down. The trouble is, like I say, we can't get them anymore. So we're gonna fix this one. I thought you might want to join us, shall you? 6mm hex. Production value for this series is gonna be low, by the way, because they all are. Why am I making this stupid series in a series of already stupid videos? So, the reason being, I spend a great deal of my life repairing things rather than replacing them, either because you can't get them anymore or the new versions are rubbish. I don't like the thought that somebody out there might be having a panic attack because they got a component's gone down. I figured if I show you a fat idiot like me being able to do it, you'll breeze it, right? Right, there's our securing bolts. That should be all of them. There we go. There's your gauge pack apart. Looks surprisingly minty. I'm hoping we can disassemble this further. Well, we're gonna have to disassemble it further because again, we can't get them. There's your little roller that operates the odometer, look. Okay, how are you attached? Okay, fairly straightforward. I want to get this guy out of the way now. What for making sure that none of these get squished. So they look a 10mm, I'll be back. Stop it. Needless to say, if you're stripping the instrument cluster down, take photos of the wiring before you do, so that you put everything back where it goes. I already did that. It's going to be a rubbish photo. Thankfully, I'm reasonably au fait with how these connect up anyway. Whiz your nuts off, like popping down to the vet. Cardboard insulating material over the terminals. And then very ginger. Oh, really? Hey, VW. A little flathead for them. Don't need to worry too much about this, it's just a mask. And it does have locating pins as well. Just go careful you don't scratch anything, obviously, because it will look rough. Those screws are awful. Whiz those guys out. There we go. And now we can see gauge. I already see the problem. There is a wire as fine as a hair down in there, and I'm pretty sure that's meant to be rigged up to something. Why do you do stuff like that, Volkswagen? Honestly. Okay, I'll go and get a 0.3186 of a millimeter hex for just letting you know. I'm a Volkswagen enthusiast through and through. I can't stand the way the air cooleds are built. I hate the way they go together. Do you know what I hate even more than the way they go together? Is the only 4 bolts crew that make everything sound like it's a 5-minute job, because all it does is make the people who know it's not a 5-minute job, makes their life a little bit more difficult. I read on a forum somewhere that you can change a headlight bulb. All you've got to do is whip the engine out. Just whip the engine out, it's only 4 bolts. And then you can take the headlight out and change the bulb. 2-minute job. Yeah, I got you. I was onto your game, I saw what you were gonna try and do. There we go, there's our plet and what have you with the stuff and the such like. Put him there. Very annoyingly, they've riveted that bit together. Why did this happen? This happened because input, output, that output wire goes to ground. Let me explain. Juice comes in, big 12 volts, here. This guy, there's a few different versions, bimetallic strips and Xena diodes and all that wank, you don't need to know about it, just trust me. Regulates juice down to about 6 volts, thereabouts, and then comes in through here and out. So there's a connection out to that pin, to there, that's good. It's this pin here that's dead. My camera work's not the best, but at least I'm ugly. You should be able to see wrapped around there, wire. This is a heater type fuel gauge. And the way it works is really clever. Thin old wire down there, and there's what's left of the other end of it, you see? Heats up this bimetallic spring. The needle is connected to this piece here, and it's allowed to rock. So when it gets hot, bimetallic spring heats up, gently push, see how it rocks? That's how it works. So basically, the other side of this goes to our fuel sender. As the fuel sender lowers in the tank, you've got less fuel. The resistance increases. Because the resistance increases, less power can get through that coil of wire, therefore less voltage, so less heat. So this spring cools down, okay? When you've got a full tank and your arm's sitting at maximum height, is less resistance, more voltage, more heat, more bend in the spring. Okay? That's how it works. Now, how do we fix it? We need to re-establish that heater wire. So I think what happened is potentially just age. If we can reconnect that wire to the other wire, we should be Happy Gilmore. Ah, bastard. There it is up there, you see? Ooh, okay. Nobody panic, nobody panic. I think we might have to take the face of the gauge off. All right, so it's riveted together. We're done, right? Nope, that's fine. You're gonna need some very little pop rivets. I think I got them from the usual suspects. This rivet gun is just trashed. So you can pull smaller pop rivets through. The way these guys work is the shallower this sits in the nose of the rivet gun, the tighter the jaws can close, so you can get around that. It might not be a perfect finish, but it's gonna get us out of the wet stuff. I'm gonna just go and drill these rivets out very carefully. What I'll do, I'm going to drill from the back because they've got a homemade center point, obviously, just there and there. Once I've punched the tops off of them, I'll pop these out and then I'm going to slide this up out of the way. Okay, we are in fact Happy Gilmore. So just drilled through from the back, got the gauge loose on one side, turned it this way, and then that gave me some purchase to be able to punch out the other one. As you can see, happy days. Most of that's hidden anyway. There's our wire. There's the other half of our wire. And just to demonstrate what I mean, as this wire heats up, look. See that? I'm being ever so gentle, by the way. So as you can see, it doesn't take a busting lot of effort. The question I now have to myself, how am I going to connect that guy back up? I just want to show you something really cool, actually. I just went to solder this joint together and look at the gauge working. See that? Cool it down again. And then offer it some heat again. Yeah, there you go. So that's how it works. We're using heat to move this, actually, not electricity. It's just electricity is the means to heat up that wire. So as long as we can get heat through there reliably, this whole thing will work again. The wire is far too fragile. What we did, I just cut a piece of wire off, separated myself out a strand of wire, and let it into the terminal at one end and the existing wire at that end. So what we'll do now, pop it back in, see what we get. It looks pretty factory to me. Moment of truth. Customer reckons he's got 10% of a tank, or thereabouts. Obviously that's a guesstimation because the fuel gauge hasn't been working. I think from buggering about putting the sender back in, I reckon he's got about a quarter of a tank. So we'll see who owes who a beer, eh? Oh, straight away, look. Oh. Ah, we'll split the difference. We'll buy our own beers. That's good. That's great. Stable, rose up quickly. Ah, yes. Now just the running side of things to sort out. Anyway, that's a very nice bus, by the way. It's a bit of a short one today, obviously. That's kind of the point of these ones. They're little videos where we see if we can, see if we will, and see how it's possible to fix something that technically shouldn't be able to be fixed. Can't be fixed, that sealed unit. It's only sealed because I use rivets instead of screws. If I had screws on there, you'd whip it apart and have a look. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it at least gave you the confidence to try. Put it this way, one of my favourite quotes about this stuff is from a Canadian YouTuber called Ave, which I'm sure anybody interested in how things come apart probably already knows who Ave is. Ave's approach to this is, it's already f***ed, you're gonna f*** it some more? That's the way I look at it. If it's broken anyway, what have you got to lose? A little bit of time. Potentially just save the customer the cost of an instrument cluster there for the sake of, what, an hour's labour? Right, that's going to be me. Oh, God. There's a Datsun over there that needs an engine rebuild. I'll do it. I'll get round to it. Just don't have to remind me every 6 months.